wonderful things he does.
The Wizard of Oz was directed by Victor Fleming and was released in 1939 and is an adaptation of L. Frank Baum's classic novel, The Wonderful Wizard of Oz. So The Wizard of Oz, do I even need to explain the story? You've all seen it. Even if you haven't seen it, you know what the story is about. Who am I kidding? I'll explain it anyway, because why the hell not? So The Wizard of Oz focuses on a young girl named Dorothy, played by Judy Garland. One day, her and her dog named Toto get swept up to the land of Oz by a tornado, and in Oz she meets a scarecrow, a tin man, and a lion who is very cowardly. They all have one thing in common, and that is they want something. The scarecrow wants a brain, the tin man wants a heart, the lion wants courage, and Dorothy wants to go home back to Kansas. So it's up to them to go to the Wizard of Oz to hopefully grant their wishes and overcome the Wicked Witch, played by Margaret Hamilton. So if you've been following my channel this year, you may have noticed that I've been reviewing pre-1970s movies. I reviewed Casablanca, Citizen Kane, 12 Angry Men, The Sound of Music, 2001: A Space Odyssey, but the one that I was most excited for was this one, The Wizard of Oz. And plus, since this year marks the 80th anniversary of The Wizard of Oz, what better way to celebrate than reviewing it? I think calling The Wizard of Oz a great movie would be an understatement. The Wizard of Oz is a timeless classic. It is iconic in cinema's history. It's a movie that definitely does mean a lot to me, and it not only has left an impact on me, but it also has left an impact on cinema in general. Every single actor in The Wizard of Oz was perfectly casted for their character. Judy Garland as Dorothy is one of the greatest performances by an actor or actress in any movie ever. It's funny because Judy Garland was like 17 when she played Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz, and in the book, Dorothy was like 9 years old. So when you get a 17 or 18-year-old girl to play a character who's meant to be really young in a movie, it's difficult. But Judy Garland embodied Dorothy so well. The emotion, the innocence, she embodied Dorothy so freaking well. And man, Judy Garland was such a talented actress. It was really tragic what happened to her. If you know what happened to her, it really shows how demented and sick and corrupt Hollywood really is. And of course, I gotta talk about the Scarecrow, the Tin Man, and the Lion. Ray Bolger, Jack Haley, and Burt Lauer were great as those characters. My favorite character is probably the Lion, because he provides the funniest scenes in the entire movie. And of course, I got to talk about Margaret Hamilton as the Wicked Witch of the West. Like I said earlier, Judy Garland gave one of the best performances in history as Dorothy. But Margaret Hamilton gave one of the best villain performances in history also. The Wicked Witch is one of my favorite villains in film history, and Margaret Hamilton embodied the Wicked Witch perfectly. The second she first shows up on screen, you're terrified. And then you see her start threatening Dorothy about the ruby slippers, and you're just like, oh my god! Can someone else drop a house on her? And here's another cool thing about Margaret Hamilton. She's from my home state, Ohio. Representing! Let's say The Wizard of Oz were to be a recent release in 2019. It would not work as well as when it did first release in 1939, because you need an actress to play the Wicked Witch, and you need the actress to embody the character so well. The problem is, if The Wizard of Oz were to come out today, the actress who you would get to play the Wicked Witch would not succeed as well as Margaret Hamilton. Mila Kunis! Yes, that was a reference to Oz the Great and Powerful, and Mila Kunis did play the Wicked Witch in that movie, and it was one of the worst casting decisions in film history. And the effects in The Wizard of Oz still hold up to this day. You watch it now, and you're just like, wow, this was released in 1939. This holds up incredibly well. And it holds up better than some recent movies with crappy CGI. And the songs are really friggin' good songs. Most people pick Over the Rainbow as their favorite song from The Wizard of Oz, and honestly, not to sound biased, but that is my favorite song from the movie. What makes Over the Rainbow a perfect song is when you start thinking about it, it's a lot more beautiful and emotional than you think it is. It's really deep and really thought-provoking, and it was almost cut from the movie, and thank God it wasn't, or else it would have made a huge difference. So, I'm about to talk about the ending of The Wizard of Oz, so just in case if you have not seen it yet, well, I'm sure most of you have, but just in case if you have not seen it yet, I'm about to go into spoiler territory, so you have been warned. I think The Wizard of Oz has probably the most beautiful ending in film history. When Dorothy says goodbye to the Scarecrow, the Tin Man, and the Lion, it's a heartbreaking scene, and it's one that we can all relate to. She's saying goodbye to her only good friends. When Dorothy was held captive in the witch's castle, the Scarecrow, the Tin Man, and the Lion risked their lives to save Dorothy. They were such loyal friends, and they're friends that not a lot of people have. The score in the scene makes it more powerful too. And one way I can relate to the scene is I graduated high school back in May, so saying goodbye to really good friends is something that we never want to do. We never think of the day when we say goodbye to great loyal friends, but unfortunately we have to. It's just life. So 80 years later, The Wizard of Oz is still a perfect film. Everything about it is timeless. The performances, the songs, the effects. It is a iconic piece of film history. I give The Wizard of Oz an A+. So what are your thoughts on The Wizard of Oz? Hey, that rhymed. Anyway, whatever your thoughts are, just leave your thoughts in the comments below. And if you want to see more of my videos in the future, to hit that like button and subscribe for more great content.